Let's roll.
Well, look at that! I thought you lost me, guys! Look at you!
Flasher Glass AR Ultra Vision Pro. Total immersion.
Hey guys, I've got some great news for you. The official global release of Seedance 2 with real face support is now available on flashboards. And the best part, you can now generate in full HD, but I'll cover that in more detail in the next videos. For those who are new to the channel, I do all my generations in flashboards. It's a platform where all the latest AI models are gathered in one place. It's constantly being updated. We keep adding new tools that we all know speed up the workflow. In this video, I'll show you how to use Seedance 2 in motion design and what actually happens when you try to get maximum control. I took a task as close as possible to a real project and ran it through the entire pipeline, from idea to final result. I'll show how I use 3D to solve this, where things don't go as planned, and what can actually be used in real work. So let's break it down.
So, as I mentioned before, my main idea was to build a motion design project using AI plus 3D to get more control over the result.
Basically, I wanted to create a full product commercial. As a product, I chose the glasses of my main character and built the whole concept around them. The final video turned out to be more than just a motion design demo of glasses. As you've already seen in the intro, there are action scenes and a more cinematic part. But in this tutorial, we'll focus specifically on the motion design part, on the segments where the glasses are presented as a product. The first thing I did once I had a general vision was simply to lock in the idea. I literally wrote down what I wanted to see, how the glasses appear, what camera angles could be, transitions, and the overall vibe of the video. After that, I started collecting references, both videos and images. Basically, anything that visually resonates with you works. From that, I built a small mood board to lock in the style and direction I wanted to follow. Next, I moved on to preparing the assets. Using the character image as a base, I created collages of the glasses from different angles. I did this using Nano Banana Pro, cropped the glasses, and used a prompt like this. After several iterations, I got a result that worked, a general view from multiple angles. Then I used the final image to create close-ups to lock in small details and material texture. So the next step was adding 3D. I opened Cinema 4D and built a simple base model of the glasses. No extra detail, just the shape and silhouette, because the goal was speed. Then I moved on to animation. Here I went from simple to more complex. As you remember, at the end of the intro, there's a shot where the glasses are showcased, with the camera rotating around the object and showing different angles. There wasn't a strict script for this part, but I always planned it as the final point of the intro. So having the base model ready, I decided to build this part first. I needed to experiment with camera angles and animation timing. I added multiple cameras and animated transitions between them in a way that felt visually convincing to me. I also applied a checkerboard material to the model so the shape and motion would read better. This kind of pattern adds detail and makes it easier for the model to track movement during generation. Then I exported the animation as a play blast with these settings. Otherwise, you'll end up with viewport elements in the video which we don't need. Now, back to the beginning of the video. The glasses reveal. First, I created a basic reveal using Boolean operations. My idea was that during generation, the glasses would look like liquid metal, gradually forming into the correct shape. Then I adjusted the cameras and angles a bit and got this animation, saved it to disk. With these references on hand, I was confident I could get maximum control in Seedance 2. After that, I went back to flashboards, added my references, and started testing the first generations.
But here we need to step back a bit. When I first started this project, I initially tried to do everything using prompts, just describing the animation in text. At that point, I didn't have a script or a clear vision of the final result. All these tests were done before I arrived at the final idea. I was just trying different approaches. It was pure exploration.
I started with a simple prompt, just took 2 images of the glasses on a gray background. The idea was to give the model maximum freedom and see what it could generate without strict constraints. I didn't like the result. It looked very boring. Then, using ChatGPT, I created a more detailed prompt with scene descriptions, camera angles, timing, and overall animation logic. This is the result I got. Then I decided to test the same scenario in different formats. You've already seen the basic text prompt. Next, I tried JSON and a combination of both. I did just 1 test per variation. It was more of a quick run to understand how the model behaves. This is the result I got using a JSON prompt. Overall, it looks better, at least in my opinion. Next, I made a mix, combined a text prompt with JSON. The text defines the atmosphere and style, while JSON controls structure and timing. In theory, this should be the most controlled setup, but in practice, the result stays roughly within the same range. It's important not to forget about randomness. The same prompt can produce both good and plohy results. A lot depends on the seed. So 1 test doesn't mean much. If you run more iterations, the outcome can vary. Overall, I came to the conclusion that the difference between prompt formats is not that significant. What matters much more is randomness, as well as the input images and how the prompt is written in general. At the same time, it's obvious that a short prompt performs much worse. There's simply not enough control. A more detailed description always gives a better result. After all these tests, I realized I was lacking control over what happens in the frame. If I want to control motion and timing, I need to use 3D as a video reference for generation. And this is where the most interesting part begins. I go back to my 3D animation that I prepared earlier and start using it as a base for generation in Seedance 2. We start with a simpler case and the final part of the intro where the glasses are already revealed and just showcased from different angles. In the prompt, I clearly specified to use the video reference for camera and object positioning, but there's an important detail. You must explicitly tell the model to take the shape of the glasses from the image, not the video, because in the video, I'm using a simplified low poly model. And if you don't specify this, the model will most likely copy that rough shape just with materials from the image, and it will look bad. I also created a collage of backgrounds I liked and ran several generations describing the environment in the prompt. In the end, the result was pretty questionable. I did several generations tweaking the prompt, but overall, I wasn't satisfied. First of all, I didn't like the visual. The background felt boring and didn't really enhance the glasses. Then I decided to push it further and added a reference with graphic lines to enhance the composition. But these motion design elements, the lines, didn't work as I expected. Visually, it looked weak and didn't add the desired impact to the product. Also, another issue appeared. The model started ignoring the video reference. It feels like there's a conflict. The model tries to follow the video reference while also adding new elements on top. I wasn't happy with the overall visual, so I decided to redo the source images, image 1 and image 2. I picked new background references and regenerated the environment using Nano Banana Pro. I used these references together with a JSON prompt. The image immediately became much richer. The new background enhanced the presentation of the object. The glasses started to play with color and reflections, making the whole visual more expressive. I also generated the background separately so the model could better rely on it. With this setup, I made new generations in Seedance. The metal started catching color reflections, and the scene looked much more premium, even though the environment itself is very simple. Visually, it's a huge improvement compared to the gray background. On the third attempt, I got exactly what I was looking for. Previous versions were decent, but the model didn't always follow the motion correctly. Next, we move to the glasses reveal. The idea here was that the glasses should literally be born from liquid metal. First, we see a droplet stretching into the temples, then the form gradually fills in and becomes a complete object. In the end, we get fully formed glasses as a final product. I used the same image references for wide and close shots, added a background and a new video reference. In the prompt, I clearly described the liquid metal formation process, but the same issue appeared again. The model sticks too closely to the video reference and doesn't really interpret the effect from text. In my case, it looked like this. Instead of a liquid metal effect, the glasses just followed the animation from the video. The temples were growing in the same way as in the 3D base model with no extra fluidity or plasticity. I tried to push the effect through the prompt, adding descriptions of liquid behavior, transitions, and materials, but it barely changed anything. For example, in one version, I locked the motion as tightly as possible using the video reference and carefully described the phases of the liquid metal formation. In theory, this should have given both control and the desired effect at the same time. In another version, I did the opposite, simplified the prompt and focused specifically on fluidity, trying to remove unnecessary constraints and give the model more freedom. I also tried adding a separate reference of liquid metal so the model could visually understand the effect I was aiming for. But in practice, it didn't really help. In the end, for the final edit, I used one of the earlier generations, the one that at least somewhat resembled what I needed. At the same time, it still relied on my original animation reference. So I decided to try a different approach, completely remove the video reference. And here, the behavior became much closer to what I originally wanted. The droplet started moving more organically, and that fluid motion finally appeared. But at the same time, I lost control. Precise motion, timing, and camera work were gone. I generated several more variations of the liquid metal. Then during editing, I took short, successful fragments and assembled them into the final reveal sequence. And basically, that was the only way I could get close to the result I was aiming for. And finally, the last scene. For this, I prepared several images, a 3/4 view of the glasses, an exploded view with components, and a front view. I took the angle shots from previous scenes, just selecting the most suitable frames. Using Nano Banana Pro, I generated an image of the disassembled glasses to lock in the structure and logic of the breakdown. I also added a reference of the main character to transition from the motion design part to the action part of the video. In the prompt, I defined the full animation structure. First, the glasses rotate, then break into components with macro shots, then reassemble, and finally the character puts them on. To my surprise, I got a result that worked on the very first attempt, and that's the version I used in the final edit. My verdict, the task of taming Seedance 2 in motion design is complete, although the model turned out to be less controllable than I expected. As a CG artist, I went through this entire process for you, so you don't have to waste time and nerves on endless testing and can immediately understand the nuances and how it actually works.
Whether you use this pipeline in commercial work or just for fun, that's up to you. But now you have a clear roadmap. If I saved you time and credits, drop a like. And let me know in the comments, are AI tools the future, or will they eventually replace CG artists? Let's discuss. See you in the next video.